12 hours after arriving back in Singapore, passengers on board Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas are finally heading home.
A 48-year-old Singaporean man has been detained under the Internal Security Act for his role in the Yemen civil war.
And Apple's high-end headphones are here, but it doesn't look like you'll get them in time for Christmas. This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chia Suen.
I'm Dylan Ang. Great to have you with us this Wednesday evening. It's been a long day for the passengers and crew of Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas, and they're finally heading home.
The 4-day cruise to nowhere was cut short early this morning and returned to Singapore after an elderly passenger tested positive for COVID-19. From around 7:30 this evening, passengers were allowed to leave the ship in groups and at different times to avoid crowding. They were also required to take an antigen rapid test as part of the original safety procedure before they could go home.
The infected passenger, an 83-year-old Singaporean male, was earlier sent to hospital for further testing. 1,680 guests and more than 1,000 crew members arrived back at 8 a.m. this morning, 3 days after setting sail. The Straits Times travel correspondent Clara Locke was a passenger on board the Quantum of the Seas, and it's been a very busy day for her. Here's Clara describing the disembarkation process.
So we found out about the disembarkation process at about 6:45, and the captain made an announcement that we should wait in our cabins for the staff to come around with a circular that will give us more information. So staff came around, they took our temperature, and then they told us to wait for a heads up, which would come between 7:30 to about 9:30, and they would come get us from our cabins. So when they came to get us from our cabins, it was in groups, so like pairs or families would move together, and then they ushered us down this route out of the ship via the gangway and then to do the antigen test. The whole day has been like a waiting game, so we were waiting for like more information, and then can we get off and finding out what's happening on other ships and with the passengers and stuff. But when things finally moved, they moved pretty quickly, so I think everyone's just relieved to be off the ship and to get to sleep in their own beds tonight.
We now go live to the Marina Bay Cruise Centre, where our multimedia journalist Renee Poe is on standby. Hi Renee, thanks for joining us. So could you tell us more about the past 2 hours and what have passengers been telling you?
Yes, Suen. So, for the past 2 hours, I've seen the passengers streaming out from the arrival hall, as you can see behind me with their luggages in tow. So I've seen families, couples, a lot of them look visibly tired after a long day, but they also look relieved to be able to get off the ship finally after such a long day. Although some were also disappointed that the trip, of course, had been cut short. From what I understand from the passengers, the disembarkation process was smooth. They had to deposit their tracelet, which is a contact tracing wristband, and then they had to go to immigration and then take their antigen rapid test, which of course they will be waiting for the results from. And of course, many of them said the process was very smooth, and the cruise operator was also forthcoming with information. Have a listen.
Yes, I think the wait was a little bit long, but the cruise, they handled the whole situation very well. They kept us updated every 4 hours. And even on board before the situation, they had a lot of safety distancing measures in place to keep track of all of us. Yeah, we had to wear tracer wristbands, and then to keep the Trace Together app on, and we had to tap in and out of every location that we go to so they can keep track of us, who is in here, who is not. So I think the safety precaution measures were quite well done in place in this cruise.
Yeah, it was smooth. We left our room, and then there was staff directing us where to go to, and then eventually we have to take the test. It takes about 7, 8, 10 minutes the most, I think. Yeah, it was definitely smooth, efficient, very efficient.
Renee, some of our viewers might be wondering, how are people getting home? Are there crowds waiting around or crowding the train stations or taxi stands?
No, Dylan. So actually, most of the passengers here, some of them have chosen to book taxis or Grabs, so they might be waiting around for that. But that's of course in groups with safe distancing between them. And of course, some of them have chosen to also take public transport home as well. Now they can go home and continue their activities, but they have to monitor their health for the next 14 days, and at the end of it, take a swab test. Just to be sure they are free of COVID. Despite this whole experience, the passengers we spoke to said they would not be deterred from going on a future cruise, although they have to bear in mind, of course, the safety risks involved. Back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Renee. That was multimedia journalist Renee Poh at the Marina Bay Cruise Centre.
There are some very disappointed people tonight. The Quantum of the Seas was due to embark on another cruise starting tomorrow, but unfortunately that has been cancelled. Royal Caribbean says that it is out of an overabundance of caution. It also said that it will be reaching out to customers with details, including about compensation.
This is apparently the new normal. Infectious diseases expert Dr. Leong Ho Nam told us the public shouldn't be alarmed when new cases like the one on the ship are discovered.
This will be the new normal. No country in the world, be it South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore or China, when they open up their gates for other people to come in, when they loosen the control, all of them have new cases pop up. This is unavoidable. The virus is so prevalent, it's found everywhere. So we're going to get a pop-up of 1 or 2 cases every now and then. It is thus not for us to worry, because we have overcome this before, wearing masks and safety distance. It is rather for us to cooperate. Do we have our Trace Together app on the phone or the dongle? Bring it along, do your part, open up Singapore, and we will be safe.
The positive case detected on board the Royal Caribbean cruise isn't included in today's COVID-19 daily count. The Health Ministry said his samples will be retested, and if they also come back positive, he will then be included as a case. So for today, there were no new locally transmitted cases, but 6 imported ones were confirmed. They have all been placed on stay-home notices upon arrival here.
Also making headlines tonight, a Singaporean man has been detained under the Internal Security Act for taking part in the Yemen civil war and working for a foreign power as a paid agent while in Yemen. The Internal Security Department said that Sheikh Haikal Khalid Bafana had acted in a manner prejudicial to Singapore's security and interests. The 48-year-old had migrated to Yemen in 2008 and was arrested after he and his family returned to Singapore last year. A former deputy director at the Football Association of Singapore and his wife are among 4 people charged for conspiring to cheat the sporting body of more than $600,000. Rikramjit Singh, Randir Singh and Asya Kirin Kamis were charged 45 counts each after allegedly working together to cheat FAS between 2016 and 2018. If convicted, each offender faces a fine and up to 10 years jail.
Let's take a look at what's been trending on social media today. Apple's unveiling of its new AirPods Max was met with mixed emotions. Some netizens are excited for the new release, but even more are outraged at the price. The wireless over-ear headphones are priced at $549 a piece or 849 Singapore dollars, pricier than some of its other popular phone and tablet products. The new AirPods, which will have up to 20 hours of battery life, will be shipped from next Tuesday. They will be available for order in Singapore soon, according to Apple.
That's really expensive, but I'm sure Apple fans will still buy it. Would you?
I'm not sure. It's a little bit out of my budget, but I'll wait to see what the reviews say before I decide.
Now let's move on. Now everyone loves a good old cup of Milo at home or at a coffee shop, and it seems like the Japanese too. Sales of the malt drink has been temporarily suspended in Japan after it flew off the shelves and is expected to resume only in March 2021. Nestle Japan said it faced difficulty in securing a stable and continuous supply of the necessary ingredients as it struggled to cope with surging demand. Why? Well, if you didn't know, according to news site IT Media, a tweet by a Japanese user had gone viral in August, where she claimed that she felt energized and refreshed after consuming the drink daily for a month. The company said it received 7 times the usual demand for the same time period last year. Over in sport, players from Paris Saint-Germain and Istanbul Başakşehir walked off the pitch after racist language was used by an official on the Turkish side's assistant coach.
Still some sorting out for the officials to do here.
UEFA tweeted that it is aware of the incident and will be conducting a thorough investigation. It added that racism and discrimination in all its forms has no place within football. Both clubs have also posted on the incident, with the Turkish side standing up against racism. The game will resume today from the 14th minute with a new set of officials.
Looking for something to check out this weekend? If you're a resident of Tiong Bahru, you might find some of these shots rather familiar. This year's opening film for the Singapore International Film Festival is Tiong Bahru Social Club, which hits theatres tomorrow. A satirical comedy that pokes fun at Singapore's preoccupation with results-driven practicalities. The movie is filmmaker Tan Bee Tiam's solo directorial debut and stars Thomas Pang, Goh Guat Kian, Chalene Han, among others. It tells the story of Abi, who takes on a job of a happiness agent at a data-driven program, as the film's title, to build the happiest neighborhood in the world.
You know, the trailer got me laughing, and I really do like the color tones used in the movie.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit about the Netflix The Good Place. Love that series.
That's right. Now, if you're watching it this weekend, let us know what you think in the comments.
In case you missed it, the world's tallest mountain just keeps getting taller. Mount Everest has grown several feet, according to China and Nepal, the two countries that Everest straddles. Agreeing for the first time on the height of this famous peak, the two countries announced that the Everest is officially the equivalent of 29,032 feet. Previously, they had different official heights. China said it was 29,017 feet, and Nepal said it was a little taller at 29,028 feet. And that wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening. Sue Ann is back tomorrow. I'll see you next week.